This is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. And the intention of these podcasts is to help you, support you, empower you to explore who you are as a spiritual being in this human experience, and also as this human being in this spiritual experience. And where the two meet, the human spirit, that's where the big work is. That's where the big life, delight, extraordinary experiences happen. And I just want to invite you into that at whatever pace works for you. So in the previous podcast, I was talking about specifically the time it takes to go through a process like this. Now, going through a process makes it sound like there's a beginning, middle, and an end, and sometimes there is. And I've gone through previous immersion processes where there was a beginning and a middle and an end. But the one that I'm in now, it's actually a continuation. It's now a way of life for me, and a way of life that is really fulfilling to my human spirit. Not just that it provides a material productivity, creativity thing. It's really about who I am as a human spirit and the way that I be in my life and will be for the rest of my life. So I began to talk about in the last podcast about what to do to speed things up. If you're saying, okay, I want to get on, I want to get into it, I want to really do it, I want to delve into this. Some people think seeking outside ourselves is the way. So people go to India, or people go to places or people and say, I'm going to get what I need outside myself. I'm going to get this from a source outside myself. And doing that will slow you down, because the truth of the matter is that this process of spiritual immersion has to happen from the inside out. And though there are teachers in all forms, books and people and medicines such as the outdoor medicines of nature, creativity, painting, music, all kinds of teachers that we have, it's really up to us to listen for who we are inside in our relationship with these teachers. So I was a student of the Course in Miracles. I grew up in the religion of Catholicism. Didn't work for me. I couldn't find myself there. And so I began to explore, where do I feel most comfortable? And I found the Course in Miracles, and I learned so much through that process. And then I found another couple of sources, David Hawkins. I love his work, and I find myself in there. I can know myself. I can listen for myself. I can teach myself and cultivate an ability to hear myself more and more and more. And a book that I've been using for over 10 years is a book called Oneness, which is by Rasha. And through that book, again, I'm listening to myself as I'm listening to what's in the pages. And that's what all of this spiritual immersion process is about, is listening to ourselves, listening for ourselves in this, and not doing anything that somebody else is telling me to do. When I'm listening, unless I really believe what the other person is saying, is like, that makes perfect sense, I'm going to do that, then I'm owning it. But if I'm doing it because somebody told me to do it, that's going to slow me down, because I'm doing it because I'm thinking they've got the answer for me. I have to find my own answers. You have to find your own answers. And the more that we can begin to notice who we are, this is self-exploration. So we're noticing who we are. We notice our negativity. I mentioned in the previous podcast that 80% of our thoughts, generally speaking, are negative in nature. And that was a profound moment where I said, I don't want to think negative thoughts 80% of the time. So I began to notice the thoughts. Which ones are negative? Which ones were positive? And begin to cull out those negativities and train myself to stop thinking that way and notice what's the underlying source of that negativity, and continually to explore and explore and explore. So if you want to speed things up, as I mentioned, you can do things like breath work, or deep tissue massage, or energy work, or medicine work, all kinds of things to speed things up. And also taking the time every day to be with yourself and read or listen to something that's going to inspire you to live on purpose, in your purpose, which in this moment may be just the purpose of self-discovery. I think that's the bottom line purpose of our life, is to say, who am I in here, and what is it that I'm here to experience fully? Now, sometimes you might feel like you're going too fast and you want to slow things down. And you can do that by food. Food's a great way of slowing things down, because there are certain foods that ground us. Meat, heavy meats and heavy meals will ground us. If we're feeling too light and too overwhelmed and uncomfortable, we do things that will make us feel better. Taking a hot bath, getting into bed, getting into our comfortable clothes, going for a walk in nature, lots of different things to slow you down a little bit. And that's perfectly natural and important for you to have, in a sense. If we want to go someplace, we can put our foot on in a car or vehicle, we can, accelerate, but we also sometimes want to slow down, maybe even to stop. So it's really important to know that you don't have to go any faster than you're going. Except if you're in a spiritual emergence process where something is occurring within you that you are beyond control, then you want to get some support. So for instance, some people have spiritual emergence issues where they're experiencing kundalini or energy, vibrational things, or seeing things that are uncomfortable in terms of auras and all. You need some support. And I'm providing a link for you to get that support. International Spiritual Emergence Network. Let me do that again. International Spiritual Immersion Network. Spiritual Emergence Network. So lots of places to get that support when you're out of control or where you're beyond your comfort zone. So for me, going out for a walk is really important. Having a glass of wine helps. Taking a bath helps. Hanging out with my puppy helps. Going to be with friends and goofing off helps. Going to a movie, binging on Netflix. All of those things can help slow you down. And so it's not as though you're in an ashram where you have to be in solitude and you have to be meditating 24/7. This is a process where you're at choice, unless you're not, like I said, in terms of a spiritual emergence process. So consider all of those things. And sometimes you've got too many responsibilities going on in your life and you just don't want to do this work right now. And that's terrific to know. That's really great to know. Or you want to be hardly, you just put some dabbling, we'll call it, dabbling in this and making some progress, but not your focus is on the responsibilities of your life. Perhaps you have children, perhaps you have a career, or a partner that takes a lot of time and a responsibility. So you're at choice about doing that for you, making those choices for you. No hurry, there's just nowhere to go. You just don't have to. And again, in oneness, it says, look, you've got eternity to do this process. So there's no hurry here. There's no rush. There's no timetable. And the more that you get that, then the more that you can let go of all of those fears that come with this kind of process. People say, oh, if I do this, I'm going to lose my job, or I'm going to, the money isn't going to come in, or all of those kinds of fears. And when you get no, you're totally supported in this process, which is a really scary concept because it goes against consensus reality. When we begin to follow that train of thought, and as I was mentioning, the boat that's turning, it takes the time it takes to change those neural pathways and to make that change available to you so you can relax and take the time you take to make this exploration be yours. It can be lifetimes. And you go, oh my God, I don't want it to be lifetimes. It's I totally get it. And it is what it is. We don't have any idea of how far we're going, what the end result is, because we don't know. I believe that there's light and love out there, and I'm 100% potentiality of that love, light and love, and I want to make as much progress as I can in this lifetime, whatever that means. And where I want to slow down or ignore situations, I'm just aware that I'm making those choices. And I want you to be aware that you can make those choices for yourself. The bottom line here is, if people want to do this work, the bottom line is that you're 100% responsible for the outcome of your life. You are 100% responsible for your own life. And making the choices you make, you're responsible for those choices and the consequences that occur, and how you be in the consequences that occur. So the bottom line for spiritual immersion work is really cultivating that reality that I am responsible for what my life looks like. I'm responsible for what shows up in my life. And again, that's a shift in paradigm. We're shifting our paradigm. We're turning our ship slowly to include and expand who we are in our spiritual fullness, wholeness. And that's a really exciting process. I'm saying a whole lot here, so if you have comments or questions, feel free to leave them here, or Facebook, or email me at rosie@theparadigmshifts. You might want to go onto my website, theparadigmshifts.com, and just explore other blogs and books and videos that I have that are there on that website, on my website. All right, blessings to you, big hugs. Enjoy the journey, and I'll talk